Facebook family. I would like to introduce you today to somebody who is amazing. I have with us today Kenneth Weir. He's from Long Island, New York. He's an Air Force veteran. He's worked with the Mets baseball team since 1969. He's a real estate agent, and he's in the same comedy writing class I take up in Long Island via Zoom with Manny Arias. Let's get to talking to him. Hi, Kenny.
Hi, how are you?
Great. I get to call you Kenny, not
Yeah,
Kenneth. Yeah.
only my
Homie told
mom
me
called me Kenneth.
let's chop it up because, I'm trying to stay to 10 minutes. I'm a chatty Kathy. I would like to know about you growing up, getting into the Air Force, working with the Mets, and now doing comedy. Can you tell me all that?
Sure. Well, my stepdad was the business agent for the Mets, the ticket takers and ushers, and he had a few other venues too. And he said when I was 14, well, you go get your working papers and you get a job. You don't hang around here all summer. That's what they did then. You got your working papers at 14, and there I was working at Shea Stadium in 1969. And what a year to start. I was on the field last year and they introduced me 50 years. And yeah, it was very exciting. I mean, I've seen so many, things there and everybody asked about it. I mean, I could not see somebody for like 20 years, let's say, and they'll say, "Hey, how you doing? Oh, by the way, do you still do that?" I mean, everybody gets a kick out of that. I mean, it's a great job, and I really miss it. It's the first summer I haven't worked there since I got out of the Air Force in '79. So
How long were you in the Air Force, Kenny?
4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
What job did you do and where were you stationed?
Well, I was in general accounting, it's called, and what I did was all the vendors from the local area and out of the local area, whatever they did and fixed on the base or whatever, they had to service contracts. I made sure that they did what they were supposed to do,
Yeah.
and then I put all the paperwork together to have them get paid.
Wonderful.
But my last year, I
Uh-huh.
was in.
Excuse me
They
a second.
said
There.
they said, "Well, look, if something happens, you guys behind desks have to do something." So I was air police. That's
Wow.
that's not exactly what they call them, but when I say that, people will know what I'm talking about. And that was great. I got to go to the range all the time, and I became a marksman and small arms, and it was a lot of fun going out at 3 in the morning and holding the radar gun on the base and chasing speeders.
Wow. And you've done real estate up in Long Island for 15 years. Even today you were going out on a listing.
Yep,
How
yep.
how fun that must be on Long Island.
Yeah, well, what's happening now is everybody wants to leave the city.
Oh,
There's a lot because we're very busy out here. If you talk to most agents, even the luxury market, which was pretty slow for a while, but now it's just flying because people don't want to live in the city. And if you live in Manhattan, if you have a 1 or 2 bedroom, you got it. It's probably almost at least 2 million or 1.5, And if you go out to Long Island, you could get 2 acres, a nice house, and really, have an enjoyable home. So they're seeing
wow.
that, and they're getting, out of the high rises. They don't like them, and that's why I was out there. A woman I've been working with is in the 21st floor on Third Avenue, and she said, "I got to get out of here."
Absolutely. Well, that's good that you're doing that for people. I'm glad that business is booming. I'm not glad why it's booming, but then that's a whole nother talk show. Tell me about you, Kenny Weir, going from mild manner ticket taker, working with the Mets for since 1969, the year I graduated from high school, and going in the Air Force and then becoming a comedian. Where did that jump come? How did that happen, Kenny?
Well, I'm a vendor.
Mhm.
Okay, I sell, programs, and I started off with peanuts and then I went to beer. And you interact with people all the time. I'm always joking around with them. I mean, you meet hundreds of people maybe a day.
Yeah.
So I always enjoyed that. I went into the Air Force and, I came out and I'd say, oh, I guess it's over a year now. And I
Mhm.
saw, Project Nine Line
Yes.
out in Long Island, and they said they were going to start a comedy workshop. And I said, wow, that sounds great. So I went out there, I met Manny and all those guys. They've been doing it for, several years. And then at the end of it, everybody got to get up and do, a thing. And it was just the greatest feeling in the world. And I since, I've gone to a couple places, not much, but once, all this stuff is behind us, I'm going to go out with the guys more. But it was just so much fun.
So you're getting trained with project9line.org through Manny Arias. And there's also the Veterans Comedy Assault, where you go out and make military veterans laugh and heal.
Yes.
And those are such great organizations and so close to my heart. And I love what all you comedians up there in Long Island are doing for our fellow veterans. So you guys are so special to me, and ladies too. Yes.
I didn't tell you where I was stationed.
Where
Panama
was,
City, Panama City, Florida.
what was
Which is,
that like?
it's gorgeous. I just got to tell you one quick thing about it though. So I get there in that town and on the billboards, this is 1975. So all the billboards say arrive alive and with the seatbelt. That was the big thing, right?
Mhm.
But then I see, this is a guy from New York. Then I see they have drive-through liquor stores. Drive up with your car, you order your booze, ice, mix, cups. They give you everything. And what is that for the alcoholic that doesn't have time to sit at the bar? No. And I said, oh, this big thing, arrive alive, and they're passing out booze through a window for you to get in your car.
Oh my goodness
Right?
sakes.
It didn't make sense. But anyway,
Well, is there
Panama
any,
City is gorgeous. It's on the panhandle. In fact, it's in Central Time. It's so far over, but it's a gorgeous area.
so it's on the west side of the panhandle.
Yeah,
Over
it's all
like,
the way over on the water.
mhm.
It's about 100 miles east of Tallahassee.
I thought it was near Tallahassee. I thought that's what you meant.
Yeah,
So
in the middle of Tallahassee and Pensacola, if you know where they are.
I
It's right
do.
about in the middle of those. Yeah.
I lived in Fort Myers and Vero Beach back in the day.
Oh, that's
So
all the way down. This is up northwest.
yes, I lived at by Alligator Alley some of the time. So the thing I'd like to know from you before we close out this little too short interview, what is the funniest or craziest thing you've seen people do during the pandemic? And I don't mean politically, just like stupidity or sarcastic comment you have. Like with me, I'm 69 years old. I think it's hilarious that this is the first time in my life I've seen men wear protection.
I know this guy who lives in Florida. So he's a rebel. He's got this thing that wearing a face mask is not a law, and he's going to fight it. So he was on one of those little trolleys, small town. He gets on, the bus driver said, you have to have your mask on, or I'll call the police. So he said, okay. And he stood there and he waited and he had his phone. He's filming this whole thing. He says, well, the driver's going to get the police now. And I wonder what law they're going to say I broke, because there's no such law to wearing a mask. And he waited and waited and waited. And finally, 2 minutes later, the bus driver just got back on and took off. So they never called the police. And I don't know. That's one of the craziest things. I mean, why bother going through all that? I guess you want to say, oh, it's principle and all this, but just put your mask on.
Put your mask on. Thank you so much for this short interview, Kenny.
you, Linda.
I'm so glad that my people get to know a little bit about you, and follow him on Facebook, Kenneth Weir. You can call him Kenny if you're friends like me. I've been elevated. Is there and go to project9line.org and donate to keep that going, and the Veterans Comedy Assault. It's amazing. Manny Arias, Erias, up in Long Island, heads those up.
A
Healing
lot of great
veterans.
things. Just like you. Thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you so much for appreciating it. Have a great day, Kenny.
You too.
Bye.